Give me a quick second here. Getting everything started. Always have to touch up the broadcast here just a little bit. As usual, with all of our live streams here on the channel, if you have any questions, make sure you drop them in the Q&A section in the live chat, as well as there's a poll going on right now. Since we have a couple of decos of this already that are coming out, want to see which one is your favorite, the original, the alternative one we're looking at today, or the chase figure, which is 1 in 12 chance. When you buy this, you might get the Ketsu version with the red windshield, which is very cool. I wish I got that one. Unfortunately, I was not that lucky. So we are here today with Ocular Max's Infinity line. This is their IF02A Stray, or their version of an IDW Drift. This is the second release, the alternative version, like I mentioned, and you can see most of it is the alt mode. So the original was an AE86, made famous by Initial D in street racing. This one is an AE8611 with a custom body kit and a lot of cool paint work. So it's reminiscent of the deco that he has in IDW's version of Transformers, more than meets the eye. So let's take a look. The box itself looks really, really nice. The artwork, which was done by, and I never remember the name, how to pronounce it. It's, where is it? Oh, Reza Ilyasa. I never remember how to pronounce that. But in any case, just a quick recognition to the team. AK, one of my favorite designers, and Macrotron collaborate on the design, Macrotron on the sculpt, engineering by Pierce Studio, which I'm not familiar with, color and paint by Lazy Azza, and then we already talked about Reza, photos by Ian Reed, aka Hard Return, and CMG, who I'm not familiar with, video manual, which will be going up by me, will be going up probably tomorrow. Soft goods by Kai Lab, that's the what is it called, the cloak that we have here, and then powered by Mastermind Creations, obviously. So you can take a look at the QR code here as well. But again, I always love that they give a shout out to the team here that contributes. But the artwork's super nice. I like it. On the side here, you can see some more artwork. Same artwork there. On the top, you get some actual product images of robot mode and alt mode. You can see it also has a spoiler and a crossbow type gun. More information on the bottom. On the back, you get to see what has now become pretty iconic for Ocular Max Mastermind Creations, their transforming alt mode into robot mode, or actually a limb mode. And so I mentioned before the chase figure, which is Ketsu. So you have a 1 in 12 chance of getting that, and it has red windshields, and it has a different kanji on the side view mirrors. So you always get the stats in here as well. Give me 1 second. Let me take out my Invisalign. I'm still slurring a bit. There, that's better. You get the stat card with the G1 style decoder, so you can see his stats and so forth. You get his instructions. His stat card, which is just a cardboard stat card. Oddly enough, they don't put the spoiler on in this photo for some reason. All right. The instructions, as well as a little addition. I guess they had to add this later, which talks about the extra accessories you get here, as well as how to store them. It's not really complete on how to store them. I actually figured it out on my own, so you all will have that, as well as an official video manual will show that. But the instructions themselves are very similar to what we got with the original. The body is a little bit different, but the instructions by and large are quite good, I would say. So that's what we get in terms of paperwork. We do get a couple of additional faces here. All right. So on his stock face is just kind of a straight face. This one is kind of a scowling face. And whoa, we got $10 from Turtle Hermit. Hey, Paik, can you ask Eddie to send me the chase version? I wish I could do that. I don't think he's doing that. He'd have to open, you know, who knows how many, since it's 1 in 12. He also has a smirky version here. I would really like the chase version as well, but some people may not be happy with it. Like, I got a chase version of Bad Cubes Insecticons, the clear version, way back in the day, and I was like, why would I want clear Insecticons? That doesn't seem very canon, but in any case, here are his accessories, some extra accessories, and you get an extra head for Eris Coulter, their Fembot tank. Apparently, this one has a slightly smirking face to it, which didn't come with the original release. So if you have this figure, you'll have this option of swapping the head. So they included that. All right. What else do we got? Oh, I didn't actually bring the figure out. The figure comes in its own plastic shell, as usual. And he comes with himself in robot mode, as well as a couple accessories. So he has the swords that he came with before. Let me make sure I got him all standing up. Stand up. Sorry, I don't have his legs straight and his ankles are not tilting. There we go. All right, so that should be good enough. He has some additional packaging material to prevent the very nice paint. He actually comes with some plastic over all of the windshields and windows to protect those from scratching during transit. So it's always nice when they do that. So in these accessories in the plastic, he has the sword that we got before does come into parts for storage. And oddly, for some reason, you get another sword that comes in parts. And I don't remember what the difference between these two swords is, to be perfectly honest, in the lore. They look quite similar, but this one has kind of like studs and a slightly different deco, and it's longer. But the funny thing is, they give you this sword with the handle, but they don't give you the handle with this one. And so you have to take this out and you have to use it. So you can only use one of these swords at a time. I even gave the boss Penguin at MMC a hard time. I'm like, how are you guys gonna be so cheap that you can't give them two handles? And they're like, okay, maybe we'll throw it in on, on another next IF release. Who knows? So that's not official, but we were joking about that because come on, they could have given you another handle. All right, with the other weapons that he gets, he does get this blaster here and a handle, so it does come separate. You can either plug it in this way for the right hand or this way for the left hand. So you can just plug that in. And then where'd the spoiler? Oh, spoiler got wrapped up over here. Oh, I forgot the little small swords. It's the short swords as well. You get two of those. All right. But with this, you take the spoiler, and there's a little set of notches here. You just go ahead and peg that in. And now you have a blaster / crossbow looking blaster. I don't know. But you can go ahead and peg that into, not even peg peg it in. It actually wraps around the palm. So it's kind of a weird design. But you go like that. There is an alternate use for it as well, or alternate transformation. You can take this out, take the spoiler out. You rotate this 90 degrees. And then in this gap here, you peg in the crossbow like this. And then you can put in the hand as well. Same dealy, but it gives you a different look. So it's kind of, it almost looks like it's mounted. I find it actually easier to go ahead and put this on first and then peg on the spoiler. So you get kind of a different look here. I don't really care for either. I mean, it does kind of look crossbowish. And of course, if you want, you can do whatever you want with this thing. You can rotate it this way or upside down, whatever floats your boat in terms of the design there. All right, so we've already gone through the accessories. These don't have any tabs, but they grip just well with the really nicely articulated hands. Some of the best hands for this size of figure. And then he gets a cloak, which is actual real fabric. You can see that it's weathered. It has some stains and stuff like that on it. It has some frayed edges. It does have moldable wire along the edges here to let you put it in different types of forms and shapes. He does have a cutout for the head here, as well as a cutout for the sword to be able to poke through the back. So just throw this on. Oh, a couple of loose threads got caught, but that's fine. And then you can poke the sword or swords through the back here into his back holster. All right, so that's it for the accessories. Let me actually rewind a bit, because out of packaging, your figure might not be 100% what it's supposed to look like in robot mode. One of the key things is that you need to make sure that the heels are plugged in correctly. So let me unplug it. So I talked about this in the previous review, but there are two tabs that you need to worry about with the heel. So there's this one here on this, I think this is diecast. Yeah, I think this is diecast piece here, and that goes into this section. It's kind of like a L-shaped or 7-shaped, and then there's this white tab here that goes into this slot. So you need to get those both together, and the shin just needs to make sure the top part of the shin is kind of all aligned here, and then you can tab in the top one and then tab in the bottom one. You just need to make sure that these are all kind of aligned correctly. So make sure that both of those are done like so. Let's see, what else was there? Make sure if this one came loose, just make sure you fold that down. The shoulders, I actually have it in the alternate configuration. So just like before, you can have these kind of angled up like so that they sit higher, or you can unplug them and get them lower, which is, I think, the out-of-the-box configuration. So you can see the out-of-the-box on your left, his right, or the alternate one here. Some people like this one. I think I prefer that one just because I think it's a bit cleaner and less gappiness here. But, you know, do whatever you want. But I think those are the main things that you need to worry about coming out of packaging. But yeah, let's do a quick 360 while we have them here. So doing a quick 360, he looks very similar to the original release. I actually have the original release in alt mode right now, the first edition, because I think that's where you're going to see more of the differences. But you can see the lovely paintwork here, all these red lines, very sharp, detailed, you know, red and white being the colors of the Japanese flag, land of the rising sun. Is very nice looking. They did a really good job with that. You can also see his rims have red on the inner spokes, which look great. Otherwise, he looks very similar. When you look at him from up front, there's a little paint details here and there. The biggest difference is down on the lower legs. These are completely different, molded very differently here. And the scabbards are obviously have paint deco, but also has like that lower end side panel. I forget what those are called. Again, not being a car guy, but there's those side body kit parts there. But otherwise, you know, looking from the front, you're not going to notice a whole lot of difference. It's when you kind of turn to the side is where you see it. Even on the back, you don't see much here. There are obviously details on the headlights and so forth because it's a different body kit and everything like that. But yeah, overall, this one looks really, really good. If you're an IDW fan, this is probably the one that you want to get because it is the one that looks like what he looks like later on in the series. Even if the alt mode is not as kind of futuristic Cybertronian as in the series. But yeah, he looks really, really great. There are some things that they did fix too or improve upon. I will say that I think Ocular Max is one of the few companies that does actual significant tuning between releases, even if they're just reissues or deco changes. Springer comparison, I got you, Anthony Brown Jr. Thank you for the $2. So as I was saying, they did do not just molding differences, but they did some tolerance tightening. They made sure that the lower knee joint was actually a little bit looser so that it actually has bends first as opposed to the upper joint. That makes things easier for transformation. They made a couple of tabbing choices, which make the rear end and the front end hold together really nicely and made the transformation a little bit easier on the legs and so forth. So shout out to them for not just, you know, doing the bare minimum. They've actually done some tolerance changes and everything like that. All right, so for those of you who don't know this figure, let's do some quick comparisons and articulation. Where are the figures I was going to compare it to? Oh, here they are. So as part of their kind of IDW line, even though that's not, these are Stormbringer kind of style. Well, I guess he is Stormbringer style. You can take a look at these, as well as the More Than Meets the Eye Megatron here to kind of give you an idea of what they look like. Let me get Springer real quick. Give me a second. This is Ocular Max's Springer. There you go. Hopefully that gives you an idea of some general comparisons. If you want some other ones, let me know later. I don't want to spend a lot of time up front on the comparisons. We can go back towards the end once I get it back into robot mode and do a couple others if needed. But he looks good. He's about Carbot size. That's probably a good comparison too. Do I have a Carbot easily? Sorry about that. Not Carbot. What was I going to say? What kind of Voyager van size, like van size. So you can see he's bigger than Carbots, which I think is good. All right, so let's get Streak out of the way here and get these comparisons out of the way, and we can go into articulation and then transformation. All right. The transformation, by and large, the same. There are some minor differences, like I said. And then there's some differences with the storage of weapons that you get. So I'll show that off. All right, articulation-wise, his head is on a ball joint, so he can go all the way around. He looks up about that much. Doesn't get too much down, but gets a little bit of down at least. Let's see here. Shoulders are on kind of a double hinge joint here, so you can see there and there, which means you can get them out really wide, which looks kind of weird and gappy, but it gives you that butterfly type motion that you would like. He has a bunch of shoulder joints, so he has a friction joint this way, friction joint this way, and then actually another joint on the inside here as well. So these both rotate. You want to be mindful of those and which joint you're rotating, especially for alt mode, because you need to make sure that this screw is in a certain orientation to make sure everything in the alt mode pegs together correctly. All right, what else do we have? We have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. He has a very interesting extra joint here at kind of mid wrist or mid forearm, which you can rotate here. It doesn't serve any purpose other than articulation. It's not for transformation or anything like that. His wrist is, I think it's on a ball peg if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's on a ball peg, so you get a little bit of wiggle waggle. He has a wrist hinge, so you can get his hands all the way back like that, or even forward pretty far. And then his hands, like I said, are very highly articulated for a figure for this size. He has a ball peg thumb and then 2 points of articulation on the thumb, 2 hinges. The thumb, all the fingers are same articulation. They have 1, 2, 3 points of hinges, and then they have a splaying joint so that you can spread them out like this. So very nice hands. The only complaint some people have is that they feel like they might be a little flat. I think that's a very minor complaint. But with all that, you can do so many cool poses with this figure, which I love. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, the other thing that you might have out of packaging is, and I forgot about this, is your ab pieces might be like this. They should be sticking out like that. So you just need to make sure that you rotate them out. Sorry about that. I think mine were actually rotated out, but just make sure, because I know in the original release, mine were not rotated out. So sorry about that detour. He does have 360 waist swivel. Oh, this peg is coming out. What's going on here? The screw cover slightly came out. He also has a ab crunch, which is decent. I think he also has an alternate chest transformation, and I think this might be for the eventual, not lockdown, what is it? Why can't I think of it? It starts with a D. I don't remember. When he was a Decepticon, I think that's what his chest looks like. So I think we're getting that because it would make sense to reuse this mold. And he also has a weird transformation joint for the knee here. Somebody in the comments, remind me what his name is. Drift's Decepticon name. Like, it's going to kill me. Dread, something Dread. Anyway, but yeah, I think we're eventually going to get that. So I think that's an alternate chest configuration for that. But if you like that, you can do for yours. But it's supposed to look like this for his Autobot form. He does have hip skirts that come to the front. He does have these scabbards, which are on a rotation and a hinge, so you get a lot of mobility there. The swords can slide in here, the short swords. His hips, they rotate forward and back out to the side. And they're ratcheted going out to the side, as you can hear. And I don't know if I covered this before, but he actually has drop-down hips. So not just a rotation here, but actually drop-down hips. You can see the gap here. You can scooch this down to let you get a lot more forward motion than 90 degrees. So I don't know that I saw that before, or I'm just rediscovering it. So you can see just how different the hips look in terms of height. So make sure that they're all the way collapsed up for transformation, though. He does have a thigh swivel. He has double knees. The upper one is ratcheted, and again, they did retolerance it so that the lower one will bend before the upper one, which I think makes sense as well in terms of overall articulation. Having the top one bend looks a little weird. His kneecap things move around. I'm gonna look back because I'm sure deadlock. Thank you. I knew it would start with a D. I was thinking dreadlock. I'm like, that's definitely not it. All right, so his knee pads can rotate. They're mostly for transformation, and again, they have that weird sliding joint, which isn't used for anywhere. So I think that's for his deadlock mode that will eventually come out. He does have rubber tires. His feet have, even with these pegged in, he does have ankle tilt. It can run into this, so just be careful here. I just ran into that one. But if you move that slightly out of the way, you can get quite a bit. He has double hinged like toe mid feet here, so you can point down, and then you can even curl this up. You can curl this up forward as well. He also has kind of like a heel spur if you want to lift this down for additional support or something like that, or if you want him to rock some high heels, he has that. No rotation at the ankle because of the way it's designed. But overall, very well articulated. The butterfly joints obviously work really well. The double jointed elbows get you all the way around. The wrist and the hands are probably a high point of articulation, and he does have that ab crunch. So, and drop down hips. So, way more than the average transformer, I would say. And again, the other articulation point, I guess, is this. You have two ways that you can house the swords. You can either pull this locking mechanism down to slide it through this joint here, this slot here, or you can just have it there, and then you'll have a much closer scabbard or holster there. I kind of prefer this one, I think, as opposed to having that weird piece stick out. I don't think that there's any storage for this on his backpack or anything like that. At least not that I found. He does have a slot here though, so give me a second. Does this tab in here? Oh, I guess you could tab that in. That'd be kind of weird, but maybe you can do. I don't know. I guess you can use this somehow. I mean, that's just kind of weird, but I don't know what else this slot would be used for. I'm trying to think, is there any use for that? I wonder if there's any other mounting points. It's not in the instructions anyway. But that being said, that's all the articulation you get with this figure. Very nice. Before I go into transformation, let's see what questions we currently have in robot mode so far. So I'm moving to my computer here. Argonaut asks, do you keep the boxes, just the box, flattened? Yeah, I keep mine completely intact, and I have a whole basement room storage for just boxes. I don't flatten them because I keep the plastic and everything like that just in case I want to resell it. McLuther G asked if there are any noticeable mold changes. Obviously, there are a ton of mold changes for the exterior, but like I said, I think they've done some slight tweaking and removal of some tabs or addition of some tabs, like or adding of some slots or bulking up of some slots as well. So lots of mold changes with this guy on the exterior of the vehicle. So those are the only questions that we have so far. So let's just go into transformation. And again, it's going to be very much the same as we got before. So I'm going to not try to spend too much time on it, but just point out some of the major differences. So let's start out with the hands here. We're going to curl them up. The instructions actually say to point the fingers. You can do it either way. And if you point the fingers, you're not going to have storage room for some of the weaponry. So I suggest curling up the fingers like that. Just get the thumb tucked down 90 degrees like so. You're going to untab this front piece. You want to kind of extend on this double hinge here. This is one area that you get a little bit tighter clearances here to get this flap in, just because it's a little bit molded differently. You kind of want to push in on this entire mechanism, this hinge here, to get this rotated out. Rotate this in, go like that. All right, one of the areas that you want to be careful of is that this screw, as I mentioned before, has to be facing up towards the hood. So make sure when you rotate all these pieces around and so forth, what you're going to do, that you have that facing up towards the top of the hood. So I like pulling this double hinged shoulder joint out just to make things a little bit easier. I'm going to go ahead and rotate all this in. The elbows are basically going to double hinge into themselves. There's one tab in here that's going to go into this slot here. So just curl that around. Just come in here, push it up like that. That will lock everything in place. And again, now you can see that this screw is in the correct position. I like to have it positioned to make it easier for me, is that I like to have it so that the fingers or the hands are this way. We can now close this up, close this flap up, and this is how we're going to have it done. So you can see the yellow gold piece facing forward and the fingers or hands or palm facing forward. The hood of the car is going to be facing out. This is slightly different than what the instructions say, but I find this to be the easiest for me. So again, let's pull out on this double hinge here, rotate the hand 180. We're going to fold the palm back, fold this mechanism back here. We're going to untab this. There's a little peg here as well, so you might want to pull out slightly when you do that, just to be safe. Double hinge this up, clear this through. You're going to push on this mechanism all the way outwards like that to get this around 90 degrees. Rotate this around. It's on a slider joint that goes in. You want to fold this in as well. All right, we're going to rotate the arm in. Get it tabbed in like so. And this is where actually, depending on which one you're using, so this kind of hilt piece for either sword, or both swords, I guess, if you want, because you can do both. Let me just show it with this one. It's just easier to show you here than later, because it's kind of hard to get in later. You'll take this, and then there's a tab here that you'll come in like so. And that tabs in like that. And there's another spot for the other hilt if you want, but that's how it looks. It might fall out during transformation, but it's just easier to show you. You can do it once it's transformed, but it's just, again, much easier. All right, so making sure, again, that this screw is facing up towards the hood. We want to get this all rotated around like this and up. And then we can bring this down. And get that all situated like so. All right. Before I go into the chest, just because the double hinge, the waist interferes with this double hinge piece, depending on how far you come out, I just recommend going in and rotating the waist now 180 degrees. We'll go ahead and unfurl the chest pieces. They all kind of fold out. This piece are the seats, the car seats. And I think I mentioned it before, they actually have articulation or transformation at kind of the headrest. I can't get a definitive answer on why this exists. I guess they should be extended up for alt mode to be a little bit taller. I don't know that they needed to do that. I don't think anybody cared to that level, but okay. So we're going to untab this peg here. There is a steering wheel on the right side since it is a Japanese car. Rotate that around like so. He still has a little cup holder for the water from Initial D. Sorry, my chair keeps scooching away from my review area. I'm starting to stretch. So once you have all that done, kind of lift this up. We're going to rotate these oblique pieces down, and then the head will rotate 180 and sit into the middle of the body like that. Now we can go ahead and just fold these entire pieces on the shoulders 90 degrees. And then you can see now that those two halves, the way we had them positioned, it just makes it a lot easier now to get both halves of the front all tabbed together, like so. All right. So once we have this, you just also want to make sure that these shoulder pieces are kind of right angles, facing directly up, because they do tab into the underside of this. This tab goes back into like the other side of the neck panel. Just make sure this is facing forward. Give it a tight squeeze. If you can't get in, just wiggle around a bit to make sure that it tabs into this chest piece with the gold circles here. This piece, you can go ahead and leave it as is for now, or you can go ahead and just make sure it's tucked underneath and rotate it down 90 degrees like so. You can also even line up the roof if you want, but I find that it makes it a lot easier to peg in the rear later if you don't, but we'll just leave it like that for now. When we come to the scabbards, we want to lift them out, unfold the windows, stretch this out. This is on both of these pieces are on a slider. You want to move the window out or towards the back. We're going to rotate this 180, and this will all come up and situate like that. We don't want to do that yet because we're going to fold that into or tab that into the rear. So let's do the same thing on this side. Unfold the window, open this up, slide the window back, rotate 180, and just kind of keep it up like this for now, or like this, slightly closed. All right, now let's work with the legs. The legs are definitely the most complicated part. Hey, TM, thank you so much. Show with all versions of Stray so far. I'll show the alt mode with it. The other Strays that I have from the MMC line, I don't know how many I have. I think I might have 2, but I'll try to get those later. All right, so where were we? All right, with the legs, let's go down to the feet first and untab this that we showed before. We want to pull outwards. It's on the telescoping joint, the side, the rear wheel well. Pull this out, unfold this, and then you can collapse that back in. All right, from here, we want to do a little bit of like ninjaing to get this in and out. So we first need to curl up these toes, this die cast piece like that. And then even here at this joint, just curl that in. So it goes through here. You want to rotate. This is also on the slider, so just make sure it's pulled out all the way. Rotate this all the way around. That will get this piece in the right orientation. Now we're going to go unfurl it. Get this toe all the way tucked forward now, like so. And this silver piece will rotate all the way around back as well. Now we're going to need to push in on the shin piece. You can see that collapsed inwards, and we're going to get this round piece right in here. So just kind of push it into place. It should guide itself where it needs to go. This piece will rotate 180, like so. All right, now we're going to fold in the kneecap, and now we're going to use both these knee joints to start rotating the rear end on itself, the legs on itself. like so. You also want to make sure that there's a kind of separate piece that the rear vehicle, not really the spoiler, but the rear bumper piece. I don't know what it's called, where the trunk is. That's on this small piece here that can collapse in. Just make sure it's rotated out in order to sit flat. You first need to get the heel rotated, folded down, and then rotated back in to tab into place. Fold down the rear bumper. So again, you want to pull up on this piece to get the spoiler seated flush here, and then you can start folding this down. This also, again, is on a slider, so you're going to want to slide it forward. And that's one half done, essentially. We're going to get the other half done, and then we're going to combine that, and this is all going to tab together. So let's go a little bit quicker on this side. Pull this out. Oh, actually, no, let's get the heel first. Get the feet and toes all untabbed. So pull this out. Pull this out, unfurl this. You can collapse this back down. With the toe, we're going to fold this all the way back. Rotate it in here as well on this red joint. Make sure this slider's all the way back on this wheel well and rear end. Rotate it all the way through. You should have just enough clearance. Once you get it all the way around, you can go ahead and fold the toe forward all the way. Fold the silver piece back all the way. Push in on the shin. Get this all collapsed right around there. This will rotate 180. We'll get the kneecap in. We're going to start rotating all this up and around. Let's get these doors out of the way. Bring this rear down, rotate it into place with a tab. Fold the bottom of the bumper down. Oh, make sure, again, that we push this rear end down. We'll tab in both halves here. There's a series of tabs all along here, along the back and such. And now we have these two tabs that kind of come together and need to tab into this little gray piece. That's why I kind of recommended not doing that. I like lifting this up and making sure that these two pieces are situated correctly. Plugged in like so. And then I just give it a squeeze here to make sure that the knees are all collapsed in as they should be. Now we can go ahead and straighten all this out. So make sure it tabs into the front and the back here correctly and along the windshield correctly. These newer tabs here hold the front and rear together way better than the previous release, and they're much chunkier. They're actually maybe a little too tight, but you want to rotate this back and into here, and then there's another tab right there that will go into the side of the vehicle. So you kind of want to do both at the same time. Or you can just tab in the front, and then we can deal with that later. So same thing, at least get this kind of guided into place, tabbed in. And then what you can do is just kind of push from here to close that gap. And once that's in place, all you have to do is close the doors. And then you have, oh, slight mess up here. This one tab needed to go in there. There we go. With that, you have Stray Alternative in his alt mode, which looks absolutely fantastic. It has rubber wheels, nice silver and red details on the rims. This deco with the wave looks really nice and clean. It has kind of these rivets along the wheel well to give it a wider stance. Has a low body kit that goes very low on the outside of the vehicle. License plate area, rivets all along here as well. A new tailpipe, gas tank. I don't believe it has the pop-up headlights anymore because now it has the molded headlights on the front. But yeah, really nicely done. Really clean lines. Has a nice shine to it. glossy finish, which looks really nice. Oh, something seems to be not tabbed correctly here. Okay, there we go. But yeah, it looks super nice with the addition of the spoiler as well. So you take that piece from the crossbow, you fold these pieces down. And the way you attach this is you don't want to just tab this in. You actually want to come from the back, and there's kind of a lip here. You want to come up from the back and then hook it forward like so. That secures it very, very well. I thought this was backwards at first, but I guess it's kind of one of these reverse spoilers. Very Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift feeling. You got some kanji here, but it looks fantastic. I love it. Clean on the bottom. You have the storage for the gun, for the hilt here, like I showed before. Just like with the previous one, you can store this here by plugging it in right into his lower crotch, and then this blade can go into this area here. You can split it open, fold that close. It does stick out to the front, and if you that's the larger one. The shorter one will sit just in front of the bumper, but the larger one definitely does stick out, unless you pull it back and bend it a bit. But then you're gonna start having clearance issues. The other swords have pegs here and here that correspond to these two on the forearm and back. Just like before. Oh, I guess I could have left this in. Like so. This, you basically have to choose. Oh, also, because of the low end body kit, one of the bad things is you actually have to lift these low pieces up in order to actually have clearance enough for this hilt to sit flat. And the same thing for this gun. So the way this gun stores is you can only store this or this. So I had to figure this out. You have to unpeg the handle here. Come on. And then you take this, and this becomes like a tab, and there's a slot here. And there's even a little tiny cutout here for this notch. Like so. And there's a slight notch on both thighs and this kind of squared off U here. And you want to push in on this. So they show that this goes underneath in the instructions here, but they don't actually show you how the handle is supposed to be transformed. So just make sure that you do it the way I showed you, and then that way you have him all weaponed out. I do think that this was a weird choice for this, because while this handle, you have no way of really plugging it in without folding this up, there's only this one tiny little piece that protrudes out here. Let me take this out. It might be a little bit easier to show you. So this little tiny tab right here is what sticks out. And it doesn't really serve a purpose. So if you wanted, you could actually cut this straight through, and that would give you just enough clearance so that you could fold this down. Otherwise, you have it angled at a weird angle. But that should give you, from what I'm seeing, literally just enough clearance to be able to fold this down flat. So if you don't care about that, you don't mind modifying your gun a little bit, just cut this little piece straight down here. It's only this 1.5 millimeter piece that, as far as I can see, serves no purpose other than the design. And that way you would be able to mount this without having to lift this up. But yeah, the alt mode itself is so beautiful. I think it looks great. It has rubber tires. It rolls decently well, right? You have the option for with or without the spoiler, which is cool. There's no mounting points as far as I can see for the weapons. Like I said, I don't know what this tab is for. I don't see anything else that kind of fits that tab except the bottom of this, which maybe this is for display purposes. Seems like you're revving up. You're accelerating so fast that your car's kicking up. Or maybe this is for hydraulics mimicking. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I can tell. You can't really use this. Maybe this is doubles as a car cover to keep your Levin nicely hidden from the weather. But otherwise, that's really all you get in alt mode. Again, if you have both swords, you can really only store one. You can store the extra hilt on this side, but you can't really store both swords. So you have a this or that kind of situation going on here. All right, let me see what questions we might have gotten. Oh, Big Lurcher G asked, how much does it weigh? That's a good question. I should have done that in the other mode. But well, I'm not going to, here, let me just take off these pieces. We'll take off this. We'll take off this, if we can get it out. Yeah, it's way harder to mount these hilts. It's possible you can rotate the hand and get it in, but it's way easier if you do it when I showed you. So it is 196 grams, which is the equivalent of 6.97 ounces. So that's what you get. Let me show them off next to the first edition release. So you can see how different it looks. The entire front end, the headlights obviously look different. These are like the pop-up headlights, which obviously no longer apply here. Come on. All right, these are fighting me for some reason. All right, there you go. But yeah, you can see the stark difference here. Even the side view mirrors look like they're slightly different. Maybe that's just me imagining it. Along the side, you can see just how low this body kit goes. The wheels are even molded differently. It's not just that they painted them differently. They're different rubber. They're different rim sizes. And even shapes. All of the wheel wells, the details. Yeah, they did a complete reworking here. I mean, it looks really great. Depending on, what your interest is, you can have one or the either or both. Yeah, so that is one comparison. Let's just compare him to Streak as usual. So he's about the same length as Streak. He does sit a little bit taller. And I don't know. They're about the same width. But you can see just how wide the tires are. I don't know if this is the correct, because these look like directional tires. I don't know if this is the right direction. I just found out that on the car that I just bought for my cousin, I just bought a Model Y from my cousin who moved internationally. His tire, two of the left side tires are mounted incorrectly, so I gotta get that fixed. He did that for X. Oh, that'd be cool. Robot Lucas made some stickers for the windows. Yeah, I mean, that's really the main difference. And then the kanji is the only other difference on the side view mirrors. All right, so that's it for alt mode. I'll transform him back into robot mode, and then we can finish off the review. Let me see. McLucher G also says, TM Reviews wants you to know why you did not ask T-Man978 and him. Oh, why I did not let him know you were going to be live streaming. Well, if you guys are part of my Discord, and if you're following my Facebook or following YouTube, I posted in all three of those areas. So it's kind of on you. In any case, let me go ahead and transform him back. I took off all the accessories already, including the spoiler. I'm going to open the door, and I'm going to untab here. I find that the easiest way to untab this thing. So just pull this open, pull that, and give it a little tug to get that untabbed. I guess we can do the scabbards now if you want, but they kind of get in the way. So let's pull this forward. Close this up. Oh, maybe I can't do it right now. Yeah, let's do it later. All right, we do want to pull up on this though. We want to get the legs all the way straightened out. Now we're just going to split them. What do I want to do first? Do I want to rotate this first? Yeah, let's go ahead and just rotate this first. We'll rotate this 180. We're going to want to pull the toe out. We want to get the knee out as well. I always forget that. Actually, let me get the knee first. Let me get the knee out. We want to pull the shin and toe out so that this sits flush here. We want to curl the toe all the way back on itself, like that. We're going to rotate this through. We're going to straighten out the toe and foot and heel, like so. We're going to want to pull up on this lower body kit, tilt this out, rotate this back. This is all, once again, kind of taking us back to square one where we started this review, where out of the packaging, yours might not have had all this tabbed in. So make sure that this white tab goes into here, as well as this silver piece going into the heel. It can take a little bit of doing just to get both of those aligned, but it can be done. There we go. Give it a tight squeeze there. Remember to pull out on the wheel well just a little bit. Tuck this in, fold this in, and then collapse it a little bit. And that is one leg done. Same thing for the other side here. We're going to fold out the toe, pull out on this entire shin piece like that. Oh, I forgot the knee. I always say that. Get the knee up. That blocks the shin from sitting in the correct position. I literally just said that before because I said I always forget it, and I did forget. So fold this back on itself, rotate all the way through, get the foot straightened out like so. The heel down. We'll rotate this piece like that. We're going to angle out on this, give it a little ankle tilt, fold this up, fold this back, and then we'll go ahead and get the foot tabbed in correctly. If I can do it. There we go. There should be no gap here. We're now going to pull out on this side body wheel well. Come on. There we go. Fold this in, close that up, and we got the lower body done. Let's go ahead and flip this up. This is the piece that may interfere, so just go ahead and tilt that up when you do the waist rotation 180. We can deal with the scabbards now that I didn't mess it all up. Rotate it like that. So you just fold it on itself, fold it in on itself, and rotate 180 to get the deco facing outwards. All right, upper body wise, unlock all this, pull forward on the windshield. That will unlock that. We can pull all that back. Now we can just split the front of the vehicle in half, rotate it 90 degrees on the shoulder pieces. While we're here, let's get the head out. Let's rotate these oblique pieces out to the side. All right, make sure that this steering wheel is tucked in. If you went to the trouble of folding these up, you can go ahead and fold them down. I don't even think it makes a difference either way. I don't think there's any interference here. And then we're going to fold this up and collapse that in. Yeah, there's no reason to fold or unfold that. No one's going to really notice. It's such a small difference. All right, with the arms, get them rotated down. We'll flip this out. Let's just rotate this around. We want to untab going out this way to get the forearm out and just straighten that out. Straighten out this weird wrist piece, rotate at the wrist 90 degrees. We're good there. We're going to want to double hinge here so you can see the double hinge this up, fold this flat. No. Fold this entire piece, rotate this, fold this entire piece in, like so. And then we just need to get this piece forward. Again, depending on what orientation you want, you'll either use the 2 tabs here for the higher orientation, or you're going to use that bigger tab for the lower orientation. For the lower orientation, make sure you clear this tab though. Like that. For the lower orientation, it should sit flush, like so. And that's one side done. Same thing on this side. Fold this down, rotate it. We're going to rotate this entire section out like so. Unpeg the arms to get them cleared. Straighten out the wrists. Rotate 180. And then we have this arm. This arm basically done. Double hinge up on this. Fold this entire assembly in. Get the front of the shoulder through. And for this side, I'll go ahead and use the higher orientation. Because who likes symmetry? Not I said. With that, you have Stray alternative back in his robot mode. And again, he looks great. He looks fantastic. Oh, I didn't show that you can replace the face. Well, we're here now, so I guess we can show it. It's actually a little bit more difficult than I remember it being. You can do it without popping off the head, but just to show you a little bit easier, I'm just going to pop off the head. It's just a single peg with a tight fit here. But this one seems like it's really, really tight compared to the previous one, like overly tight, and it's really hard to get out. But even with a spudger, I have a very hard time getting in because there's no gap. You just have to slowly kind of work it out. Or what I ended up doing, which I hate doing, is actually using a small screwdriver that has a little bit more rigidity, a little bit thinner than a spudger, and you can work it out that way. Since it's on the back or inside, no one's going to see if you do a slight marring of it, but you just pop that out. Just be gentle with it. And you can see there's one peg and one peg hole. Let's go ahead and put the smirking one on. And again, if you squeeze it all the way down, you're going to have a hard time getting it out. So I just left a bit of a gap here. You can get it done without popping off the head. It's just way more work than I'm willing to do, especially for a live stream. So yeah, that's it for the review. I do owe TM Reviews at least one more comparison with another Stray, I guess, because he's got to be difficult. So I showed him off with one Stray in alt mode. I should have at least one other Stray here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second and I'll look at some more questions as well, but I gotta hop to my other room real quick. Here he is with the MMC Stray, which is obviously very different in looks. It is a bit taller than that Stray. I also have the Deadlock over there too, but you get the idea. They're basically the same. So yeah, that's all you're getting for your $2. Yes, $2.99 per stray. Why are you being greedy? He said all the strays. As if I have it all. Is it worth the money? I think this one's going for, at least on Toy Dojo, like 145. I don't know what it's at other retailers, but I think it's a really nice figure. Whether it's worth it to you or not is really going to be dependent on your collection. I think this looks fantastic. It has really premium feel to it in terms of the deco, the detailed deco here. You get a ton of accessories, even a random extra head, a couple of faces. That said, he is small ish. I mean, he's not a cardboard. Oh, and he has the cloak too. So I feel like you do get a lot of accessories. Whether you're going to find the value in those or not really depends on you. I think most people who want this are going to be IDW fans who really like the deco, because the deco is really nice. You're probably going to be looking at spending a lot more if you're going to be one of those completionists who really want the chase figure, which I don't know many people who are probably going to want to trade that or sell theirs, but who knows? Hopefully you get lucky on that. But again, overall, I think with the rising cost of everything, 150 does seem like a decent price. I would hope that it was probably closer to like 130-ish, if I'm being honest. But again, value is really in the eyes of the collector. So I'll let you really be the judge of that. He feels great. He feels really good in terms of overall quality. And again, they even improved the tolerances from the previous release, which I appreciate. He does have a decent amount die cast in the lower legs and some other areas on the inner workings, and he looks quite good overall. I don't see really any complaints with him. He doesn't have a lot of gaps here, even though he has a lot of panels on the chest. You don't have too much gappiness there. So yeah, I think he's worth it. But then again, don't ask me, because how is that fair? Because I didn't pay for mine, right? Since I'm part of the team. So I'll let you be the judge of that. But I think it's a really premium deco. All right, let's see. What other questions did we get? How long before MMC remakes this into a Megatron or a Prime? I don't know. We'll see. That's always in the realm of possibility with Transformer figures, making any random figure into a Prime or some sort. Do we have any other questions? McLuher Oh, did you remember the poll? Thank you, McLuher. So I did put a poll out to see which deco of the three that's been released that you prefer. So let me check. So it looks like 49% of folks, or about 50% of folks, preferred the Ketsu, the chase figure, the rare one, which is going to be hard to get. So hopefully you all can get your hand on one, either through luck or through your wallet. Some people don't like the idea of chase figures, but a lot of companies do it. Like I remember TM Reviews was just showing me that he got the chase figure for the Megatron from Aldi for the toy version. So again, your mileage may vary in terms of whether you think those chase figures are, or the practice of chase or lucky draw makes sense or not. But it is what it is here. TM Review says, when are we going to get back to the Future DeLorean? Yeah, I don't. Again, that was a April Fool's joke, but a lot of April Fool's jokes from MMC Ocular Max end up playing out. So who knows? I don't know if they've confirmed it or not. A lot of folks tend to ask me questions about, hey, do you know this about MMC and stuff like that? I don't ask a lot of questions, to be perfectly frank. I probably, whenever I do ask, they just tell me, but I don't ask a lot of questions. I'm very very laid back. So if they do a Back to the Future one, they'll let me know sooner or later, right? So like this figure I've known for quite a long time, and there's some figures or characters in particular that they've had ideas for I don't know, going on 10 years, and I think some people are eagerly anticipating the release of certain characters, but I can't say anything about that. So I'd rather not know than accidentally reveal something that I'm not supposed to than know and be the source of spoilers, right? I don't want to be the Tom Holland of MMC, of third-party companies. That would not be a good rep. So, all right, I think that's it for the review. Thank you for the 25 plus of you that joined for this review. I'll actually be back later this week as well, probably with a review of another figure, which I got is Brave Troop Toys Optimus Prime, their Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime. I don't remember what it's called. It's called like Commander. Is that? I think that's what, or Joint Mobility. I don't what. I don't know. Any case, it's a big Rise of Beast Optimus Prime. So I'll probably do a review of that this week at some point. But yeah, keep an eye out for this official video manual. I'm editing that now. It should go out tomorrow on the MMC channel. Don't forget, you can always pre-order this with my sponsor, Toy Dojo. They still have it for pre-order. It should be imminent in terms of its release. Oh, thank you, T-Man. He's Fortniting, but he clicked liked. I forgot to give shout-outs for all the folks. Hard Return. Hey, how's it going, Hard Return? Petrosum. Dojo said it's on the way, but they don't have them in just yet. Yep, not just yet. I got mine directly from MMC, so that makes sense. Clinical says all I want from MMC is a reissue of Vulture and Buzzard. Oh, I will actually. Hey, Toy Dojo is supposed to send me Ramhorn, so the prototype of this. So that should be coming at some point soon. Hey, Buzzsaw, Eject. Hey, Anthony Brown. Total Hermit, thank you again for the donation there. You'll have to ask Toy Dojo directly if you can buy one of their chase figures. Adrian Lee, actually, that's actually probably not a bad idea, because if somebody does get the chase figure, maybe they won't want it, and they'll ask to try to exchange it, and then maybe Toy Dojo will have that available. TM Reviews donated $4. Oh, give me a second. Gosh darn it. All right, here's Deadlock. That's a stray. So you got your money's worth. Who else was here today? Let me give shout outs to Ting Lee. Ting Lee said I wasn't going to get this mount, but now I have to. I really like it. I mean, I'm a big Initial D fan, so I like the original, but having this one be more like the IDW deco, it really looks super nice. Hey, Keck. I posted photos of my red one on TFW, but I've been waiting for Paik4Life's video before I gave it a transformation. So he's one of the lucky ones. One of the lucky ones. All right. So, oh, Toy Dojo was in here for a bit. I don't know if he's still here. Polaris, rest in peace. And McGluey G, obviously. So thanks again for all of the comments and for hanging out with me. I might also do a live stream series of building of the Lego Soundwave. I got that in the other week, and I did that for, I think, Optimus Prime, and I did that for the MOC trailer for Optimus Prime. So I might do that. It looks like it might be a fun build, especially with Ravage and Laserbeak. So I might do that. So we'll see. All right, then. So I appreciate everyone. Hope you have a good one, and we'll see you again later this week. Click like, share, and subscribe. Otherwise, I will hate you forever. Peace.